get checked out and go on to medication. But iodine is a mineral found in food that actually helps with your thyroid. So having enough iodine in your diet, and there's a lot of media now about women, pregnant women having enough iodine in their diet, that actually helps with your thyroid to secrete your thyroid hormone to regulate your metabolism. So what's rich in iodine is your seafood, and so we know that for good heart health we're saying to eat more fish and seafood. It's also in your seaweed, so if you like to eat a lot of Japanese style foods, also in your nuts and your wheat. So having enough iodine in your diet can help with your thyroid.
Can I just ask, what about the opposite to diabetes?
Hypoglycemia, yeah. So hypoglycemia is kind of, you've got to treat it the same, because if you get regular lows, I get a lot of people with hypoglycemia. Probably not, with Kathy, I think it'd be interesting to see how you go. You're the sort of person that might be able to wait about 4 or 5 hours. Someone with hypoglycemia, you might be on the clock of every 2.5 to 3 hours. So I get some people who have breakfast at 7 and they have to eat, less than 10 a.m. If they go for longer than 10 a.m, they get the shake. So people with hypoglycemia, it's really trying to eat, every couple of hours, no longer than 3 hours, because then they find they just dip. Is that what you find yourself?
Yes, but does that mean there's something with my pancreas?
Not really.
No. Okay.
No, you're okay. It just means that you've just got to, as long as your blood tests come back normal, it just means that you need to eat regularly. Your body's actually working all differently. Sometimes people think that's a blessing because it actually forces you to eat regularly, which we know is good for your metabolism. Yeah, the questions about, that's the third one, so that's trying to balance your hormones. There is another hormone that's not related to your eating. Has anyone heard about your stress hormones? Yeah, anyone read about that, what stress does to you in relation to weight and metabolism and things like that?
I was thinking of the relationship between proper sleep and metabolism.
So yeah, poor sleep can also be affected by stress. And so certainly one of the things for, which I mentioned at the start of this challenge, it's not just nutrition or exercise, it's stress and sleep management. So people say that, I think in the research they're saying that shift workers, so people who don't get enough sleep, are more likely to carry extra weight as well.
It's a connected weight and stress though, in some stuff.
Absolutely. So the hormone cortisol, definitely. And it's interesting, I've had some people come to see me who say when they're stressed, they lose a lot of weight. Other people who are stressed, they put on weight. And some people say, I have not changed what I eat, but it's almost like the body is just saving them for yeah, that's right. So with cortisol, that's the stress hormone, so it's just being aware of when you're stressed, that can actually affect your appetite as well. So sometimes it can increase your appetite, so when people are stressed, they start to eat more, and that helps them put on weight. Other people, when they get stressed, you find the appetite goes when they really are in stress. Yeah, that can stop you from eating. So being aware of your stress levels.
How do you help that?
How do you help the stress hormone? You guys tell me. Stress management. So, which, God, how long's a piece of string? Yeah, but I mean, for a lot of people, when they come in and see me, they're actually knowing what to eat. It's the stress that's causing them to make poor food choices. So it goes back to the stressor of what is causing you that stress and what do you need to do to change that. So yeah, but we know that you can't always avoid the stress, but what you can do is try to manage it.
When I'm sitting in hospital, like my son could be going in, as soon as he goes in the theatre, I just have to eat. That's what I just, no, I've always done it.
Yep, so it becomes a
I
habit.
don't know what to
Do to change it. Okay, so what's going through your mind that makes you go, search for food? Try that as an experiment. When we talked about this, a good example. Remember last week we talked about thinking. Draw a pig. So thoughts, feelings and behaviours is the basic crux of CBT. How you think decides how you feel and therefore what you do. So when your son's just about to go in, there's something that you say to yourself that makes you go to eat something. Now, it's so automatic, I'm sure, because we get into a habit of just doing it. maybe your experiment is at that point in time when you're in that situation, just to be mindful of what's going through your mind, and there's your answer. Because whatever you're saying to yourself, it's giving you that green light to go and eat. So sometimes people need to be aware of and catch themselves thinking in that way. That might be, oh, pack of chips, pack of chips would be nice, or oh, I'll go and eat something. Sometimes it's actually looking at changing what you think, but then also changing that habit, that behaviour of every time he goes in, I'll go and have a cup of tea. Or every time he goes in, I'm going to go out into the sunshine and just breathe. You know what I mean? So it needs a thinking strategy and also a plan, unless you're happy with it. I mean, for some people who go, you know, I'm going through so much stress, I deserve this cake and coffee, you know what I mean? But if you find it's impacting on your overall goal, that's when you need to change it. So it doesn't mean to say that you can't not eat food for joy or have a glass of champagne when you're happy, as I said before. It's only if it actually undermines your overall goal. So have a think about it. So the third, we're back to number 4, aren't we? Yeah. One other thing, I wrote a couple of, I was having a bit of a look in the researching it. And I was just going to show you something else as well. One thing related to appetite as well. This ties into, I think, one of the first sessions we did. With your appetite, I said before that protein actually helps to satisfy you, because we talked about this, it actually burns calories faster than any other macronutrient. So for your appetite, protein's really good. But remember your low GI carbohydrates, that also helps with sustaining you. So who knows, you know, when you've eaten a bowl of muesli or oats, fruit and yogurt or whole grains, that you do feel full for longer. So you don't. You don't. Wow.
Never.
See, one of the small percentages that don't. So if you see, it's not a one size fits all.
Never. I have to have protein. I never feel full after long runs or anything.
There you go. It's interesting. Some people do. There you go. Some people don't. But quite often people will feel satisfied with both. So if you've got a whole grain, then with your or something like egg on toast, and you go, I can keep going for longer. Yeah. So they're the two things. So in your meal plans, we always try to put in a low GI carb and always a protein. We don't always. I've put potatoes through the menu. You know, you want a variety of foods, but that will also help with your appetite. And the last one is actually now. Very interesting. Well, that's my one of them. So there's also number 4 is also eating to optimise your nutrition. So I guess it's kind of like superannuation, trying to invest. So if you can invest in good foods at a young age, and it's never too late, it can actually really help with your metabolism. So there's a lot of research out there about the types of nutritious foods to help with your metabolism. The first one was coming from dairy. Having dairy food actually showed that people lost more weight. Now, we don't know whether it's the calcium or the dairy protein. I don't think that you don't have to have dairy, so I think it comes back to calcium foods. And also, if you are having soy milk, oat milk, rice milk, any of those sorts of proteins, they actually also satisfy them anyway. So it's trying to have some calcium foods in your diet. I think that's probably the take-home message, because if you're lactose intolerant and choose not to eat dairy, people can't freak out and go, well, my metabolism is not going to work if I don't have dairy. It just means that you do need some type of calcium foods. That's one thing. We know with children who have dairy foods or calcium foods in their diet tend to have less body fat on them, which is interesting. And I think the relationship is they're going more for calcium-enriched drinks rather than juices and soft drinks. I think that's really what it's